On the 5th of August, this very year, actually just a few days from now, my beloved brother and friend, Omoyole Sowore, even though I've never met him one-on-one, he is planning to lead a massive nationwide protest against the establishment in Nigeria because he believes that Nigeria has collapsed. Nigeria has failed. That much I agree with him. But he wants to save Nigeria. That much I disagree with him. I don't want to save Nigeria. I want to save the indigenous peoples who were falsely and illegally merged together in 1914 to become one nation who will forever fight against themselves just for the interest of the colonial masters. That amalgamation was actually what turned our people into a company, part of a company rather than part of a country. We had never been a union. We have always been a business entity for the British people. So I disagree with him on saving Nigeria, but I agree with him that Nigeria has failed. Yesterday or so, a reverend father just got killed, and about 4 or 5 redeemed Christian Church of God pastors just got abducted. All this happening back to back within a space of, say, 2 days. And you wonder why the desperation in the camp of the Fulani herdsmen. Remember a video I put out just about a week or 2 weeks ago, in which I was explaining to people that these guys are being used by the colonial masters to start a war. They want to start a war so that the moment they draw us into a war, the British military will land in Nigeria in the guise that they are coming to keep peace, and they will now go behind these herdsmen and use them to cement the broken pieces of Nigeria. Because right now Nigeria has broken, Nigeria has fallen apart. The reason why Nigeria has remained all these years, for the interest of the British colonial masters, is because the initial amalgamation between the middle belt of Nigeria and the core north was successful. Everybody knew that even if the Yorubas wanted to leave Nigeria and middle belt still remained with the north, it would still not have been possible. If the Biafrans wanted to leave and the middle belt is still with the north, it would still not have been possible. They were the big elephant in the room. They were the people we've been praying for all our lives to make sure that they pull themselves away from the core north. What we have been waiting for is the day that the middle belt will say, we are no longer part of the Northern Elders Forum. We are no longer part of the Arewa Consultative Forum, which is from the north. The day they will say that, all of us have been expecting that. The day they say that, we know Nigeria has collapsed. And guess what? It has finally happened. Going by the statement that Dr. Dogo Isua just made a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago actually, when he said clearly to the Arewa group and the Northern Elders Forum that, look, let's go on record and tell the whole world that middle belt is no longer part of the north. He made it very clear. It was all over in the news. Everybody saw it. And it is at the same time that Abdul Salami Abubakar was organizing a security summit where he wanted the socio-cultural organizations to attend, and he also invited Miyetti Allah and another unknown Fulani organization to attend. In other words, Abdul Salami Abubakar is trying to tell us that Miyetti Allah is on the same pedestal, on the same level with our revered sociocultural organization, which is actually agreeing with what Garba Shehu, Buhari's spokesman, said some weeks ago, that Miyetti Allah is the same thing as all the other sociocultural organizations in Nigeria. So when our people saw what Abdul Salami Abubakar had done by inviting Miyetti Allah to have a meeting with them, they rejected it. These things have never happened before in the history of Nigeria. The reason why Abdul Salami is organizing that summit is to see how they can find a way to pull middle belt back again. His interest is not even in the Oduduwa guys. His interest is not in Ohanese people. It is because of the middle belt that pulled out, because that is the thing that actually spells doom for the One Nigeria project. As we speak now, the One Nigeria project has collapsed completely. And what it means is that finally, for the first time in more than 100 years, we are about to experience real freedom. So when they suddenly began to give signs that Buhari was failing at the tribunal, which is normal, I began to say to myself, are these people not indirectly finding a way to push in Atiku? And then suddenly we also see Sowore coming. And that was when the alarm went off in my head. I said, look, we don't want anybody that will come and sit in the place. I don't, listen, like I said, I love Atiku Abubakar. He's a very gentle man. But let me tell you the gospel truth. What we need now is not Atiku Abubakar in that place. We want the man in Aso Rock to get out. We don't want Atiku to get in. We don't want anything else. What we want is a transitional national government. The transitional national government is going to come to help our indigenous peoples to come around the table and renegotiate the union of Nigeria. We never had any negotiation. Remember, they told us that we were in amalgamation, and the amalgamation lasted 100 years by the time we got into 1st of January 2014. And statutorily, every amalgamation is renegotiated after 100 years. Nigeria has never given the indigenous peoples the opportunity to renegotiate, even though we were not part of the initial negotiation. So what we are saying, that's why Jonathan went and had a sovereign national conference that he had in 2014. Recommendations of that conference has been thrown away by Buhari to show you that he doesn't want to have anything to do with a renegotiated Nigeria. So what we are doing now is that any protest that anybody wants to do right now, we must precipitate something that has to do with transitional national government, and that government will be given 6 months to execute all this program. Bring the indigenous people to a round table. Is it that we rediscuss Jonathan's own recommendations, or we are going to create a new make a new recommendation and decide on our own if we really want to live together as a people, knowing that a whole 12 states have become Sharia up north, and I am not allowed to become Christian state in the south. There is need for an emergency discussion right now, and that's what this transitional national government is going to do. An independent person that has a clean record is selected or chosen by the elders of Nigeria that will come and sit in Abuja for 6 months and handle this matter. If Atiku Abubakar needs Nigeria to pay him for the money he spent during the election, we will mandate the Nigerian government to raise money and pay him for that. We don't need any representative, any other government in that place. All we need is that transitional government. And after we have had all the meetings, the people can now have a referendum and decide whether they want to go or not, whether they want to live together or they don't want to live together. And so my conclusion on Sowore's protest is this. If Sowore's aim is to bring about a transitional national government, if that protest lasts 1 week or 2 weeks, before it ends, you are going to see me personally as part of that protest. Even though I believe that Sowore is an asset of the European and British intelligence agencies, I do not want to throw it away completely, because people have to vent one way or the other. If Sowore does not have this in the back of his mind, that whatever he does is to bring about a transitional national government, then anything he is doing is fake and will always be fake. And I want you who are working with him now to ask him this question. And if he gets this video, let him come and tell Nigerians what is the end result. It's not just to save Nigeria. If you want to save Nigeria, you will destroy the amalgamated unit. That's the only way to save Nigeria. If this is what Sowore is going to have as his aim, mark my words, before that protest is over, Joseph Okechukwu is going to be on the front line with you guys, and we are going to bring about the lasting freedom that our people need the most. But if you hear anybody shouting "One Nigeria" for you, run as fast as you can. And if Sowore's protest is about one Nigeria, to save one Nigeria, I want you to run as fast as you can. This is not what we need now. God has given us our victory, and we cannot afford to have any unnecessary, unwarranted interruption in the movement that we are having now towards our freedom, which we have been looking for so long.